Okay, so I'm going to do this self-reflection video number 3 because I really enjoy putting out this work and talking to somebody about the process that I've been doing with my Wellness on the Rocks podcast. I had 2 really great conversations last night at the bar when I was at work. The first one was with a customer who does a lot of social media work. And honestly, rarely I get to talk with people who are doing these kind of creative things, whether it's podcasting or social media or internet stuff or design or anything like that. Like I don't really have that network. So when I do have those conversations with those people, I value those because it's like, those are the people who kind of empathize with what I'm trying to do here. And although I'm trying to make this podcast platform about hospitality and bartending, a lot of the people I talk with on like a day-to-day basis, they know the bartending stuff, but in terms of the podcasting and stuff, I don't really have another set of ears and eyes to bounce ideas off of. So it's really cool to talk to this person last night because, you know, she was kind of, what this person was relating back to me was like they get the grind of doing these things and how you just have to constantly put yourself out there. And that's what this sort of thing becomes. If you're somebody who wants to start your own podcast or start an Instagram page or start something digitally, like you really have to keep at it and keep spinning that ball and work on it like every day. And I've been dealing with that. I've been in the inconsistencies of this. But what this person and I were talking about is the constant rejection and sort of criticism that you get when you do put yourself out there. And you kind of have to get over yourself and get over that aspect and realize that like, that is a huge part of this, of you constantly putting yourself out there and like, receiving negative feedback or rejection or criticism from people. And it's, I found that to be true through this. Like I'll say this week, I reached out to 4 different people who I had spoken to in person about coming on my platform. And I had basically like 4 meetings set up and plans. The first person did a no call, no show on me. Second person canceled on me. The third person, I actually got to a point where I don't feel like it's the best time and right fit right now. And then the fourth person I have lined up ready to go. So it is kind of one of that, like that's a 25% success rate, I guess, at this point, which if I'm being honest, for a lot of things, I feel like is pretty high. Like in business, if you had a 25% success rate at start, I don't really know the ins and outs of those kinds of things, but, that's kind of like where I'm at, is reaching out to like-minded people who are trying to, do things that like promote themselves, put themselves out there and do what I'm doing. And it's tough. It's tough. It's kind of weird. It's like, I don't want to sound like the crazy guy who's like pumping his podcast. Like, yo, you want to be on my podcast? You want to be on my podcast? It does sound a little manic and tapped, but like, I try to think of it like this. I'm trying to treat this thing going forward. Like, imagine if I got paid $1 million to do this stuff. Like, how would I do that? How would I, pitch people? How would I prospect people? How would I edit? How would I, what kind of questions would I ask? How would I do this whole process instead of thinking like I'm in the red and I've spent more money on this? I haven't even made any money, let alone, all the money I've spent in the camera and the equipment and all this and the editing processes and stuff like that. But it's like, yo, that's how I'm trying to think about this. And so, although I don't want to be the weird, crazy guy, just like prospecting myself out there, trying to pitch people, I am very serious about this. And it's a learning experience. And I really like it. But I think like one of the, a huge foundational element that comes from this thing is what we all see in social media on a day-to-day basis, right? Like, I feel like obviously we all know this right now, but I guess some people know it better than others. It's like social media just creates this like fake narrative of how we all live our lives. And it's very hard. I think it's harmful for a lot of people. It's harmful to people who aren't like crushing it at the top and who aren't like have these huge incomes and these like, the fitness influencers, the business influencers, the musicians, the artists and stuff like that. Like when you're not crushing it and you're seeing all these people crush it, it's deflating. And I'm just trying to create this like honest, real platform for regular people who are trying to succeed and those who have succeeded to come back and give back. People go through bullshit in their lives, and I'm not trying to like glorify that, but I'm still trying to like, put all these things into words. But that is the sort of the energy that I'm trying to bring to this thing. I feel like, it takes a lot of energy to be an actor. If you're going to do something like this and put out a page and you're going to turn on and turn off like you do maybe at work or when you're behind the bar, like that's a hard thing to maintain long term. Like I feel like if you are going to do something like this, why not just be yourself? But it's really hard to be yourself. Like it's hard to put yourself out there. But the way my mind has like switched is if I could just come on here and be me, then like that's something I can do, as opposed to coming on here and be like, okay, it's podcast Taylor mode. You know what I mean? So, that was like a big thing for me when I started this was, oh my gosh, I have my version at the bar of who I am, and then I have the real person of who I am, and everyone's going to see that. And it's like, my head's going to explode because, but like, I think, but what I've realized is that's like a normal part of life. It's called code switching, and people do it all the time. You have your professional version of yourself and you have your honest version of yourself. And sometimes your honest version of yourself isn't really good for your professional side, but those are the kind of the things that I guess I was like a huge part of me not doing this whole thing. And it's taken me a long time to get comfortable, but that comfortability has come through repetition and trial and error, and just keep going and keep trying to get feedback from people, and so I had a second conversation with this really veteran restaurant person last night. And this person has been in the industry for decades, climbed the ladder, super successful, makes lots of money, has a really, really, not only is their title of what they do high, their knowledge and wisdom and understanding of this industry is like top notch. And this person was talking to me about how, at the end of the day, they've made an incredible financial lifestyle for themselves, the ability to travel, a great home, experiences that they pay for, but how they've kind of felt unfulfilled in what this has become as they've gotten older. And how they have kind of begun to really appreciate helping others grow and succeed in this industry. And this person was expressing to me how important they've realized humility is in their life and in this industry and in their professional worlds, and how they want to give back. And that has become, at the end of the day, the most rewarding part of what they do. And although they said the money was still definitely a significant amount, it has grown. It has, as they've gotten older and achieved these financial goals, it's like shrunken a little bit. And, I kind of think about that like with myself. I'm 33, and I don't take for granted the money I make by any means. I mean, sometimes I do well. Sometimes you have bad shifts or bad weeks or bad months. It's like that's what this industry is this like hot and cold seasonal wave. But, the money you can make in this industry has allowed me to move to this incredible city of San Diego, where I can walk to the beach. I have my dogs. I'm able to go out and take myself out to eat. Like it is. That's why I love this industry, because you can work your way to these points. But I do honestly feel like sometimes I am just the salesman, and I can have a big night or I can have a night where I don't make anything. And sometimes it's just like, it all kind of just blends in, and you don't really, the reward at the end of the night, even when you crush it, sometimes it's like, I'm just kind of a salesman. And, I kind of want to lean more into the aspect of connecting with people and helping other people as well. And I know that doesn't really pay, but it is sort of one of the foundational elements that I'm trying to do with this podcast, is to help other people grow in the industry. Because like I've said, I have learned so much from working in this industry, and I want to connect with other people who are growing and who are trying to grow and who are trying to do cool stuff, cool concepts, whether you're starting a bar, whether you are working in interior. I was talking to somebody who is helping build a bar for a big hotel chain. And I mean like the ins and outs of the bar, like the design, the layout. Like, I think that's so fucking cool. Like, that's where my mind takes interest in. When people are doing creative new things, I want to talk to those people. I want to learn from those people. I want to promote those people. And although I do, the part of bartending that I do, where I do get to have these conversations and talk to these great people, I do like that. There's also so many other parts of the job that are challenging. And as you get older, your body, your minds, like your relationships, like these things all sort of like start to, you add more value to those things, which when you're younger, you don't really give a fuck about, you know what I mean? But like, now that I'm entering my mid 30s, I'm like, oh shit, like I gotta kind of like really take these things. I got to pay attention to these things and not take them for granted. Yeah, I think that like, that's kind of like what this platform has been for me. This podcast is sort of like, this is my escapism, and I work in escapism. So it's interesting because it's like, it's an escapism from the escapism, and I don't think that like, everybody values different things in their life. So it's people, relationships, possessions, your car, your experiences. Like, I don't know. I don't really have too many of those other things in my life. And so like, this is very meaningful to me. And I want to try to grow it and keep this thing going and connect with other good people. But, I'm trying to think big, long-term, and not take any more shortcuts. And I used to, when I came out here, I wanted to do social media for bars. Like, that's for me and where I'm at, that's thinking small. Like, I'm trying to think big. I'm trying to think long-term, big picture, something that I can like legitimately do for a long time down the road. And I think doing the social media for bars was incredibly helpful for me, just in terms of learning how these technical, it forced me to learn photo editing and lighting and use Adobe Premiere and Lightroom and Photoshop and all these things. And those were kind of like little tests that I would do. And now I have this understanding, and I'm trying to keep leveling up. I'm trying to keep like getting bigger picture without aiming too high. I don't want to look at the top of Mount Everest and be like, well, I'm going to have, my own production company with 100 employees, and we're going to be worth all this money. Like that, if I'm focusing on that, I'm never going to get there. I'm just trying to take it one step at a time. But like, ideally, if I could find a way to do this long term and have a legitimate foundation and platform where imagine if I could have like a studio downtown where people would come in and like I had a space where I'm not shooting in my bedroom, and it's like, that's like a 10, 15 year thing, like a realistic thing if I can keep doing this. So it's like, it's an experiment, and it's a journey, and I think I'm on the right road. And I'm trying to just like talk to myself and be like, don't be rushed. Don't, think long term. The negativity or the my own self-pessimism that I give myself, like, oh, my work sucks. Like, just try to grow. Just try to keep taking it one step at a time. And again, I'm always going to say this. If you are somebody in this industry, or if you're in the health industry, or anything that has to do with wellness and hospitality, sales, business, marketing, sports, there's so many different facets, creativity, artists, musicians. Those are the people I want to come in and talk to, pick their brains, learn from them, promote their products, and share their wisdom and ideas. Like I'm just going to keep putting stuff out there. As crazy as it sounds, I'm the crazy guy with a microphone. I don't care. It's okay. There's worse things that people can think of me in my life than the manic person with the microphone. Like, I'm okay with that. It's a little true. I understand that. But yeah, let me know. Please reach out to me. Thank you.